Next up on Café L.A., my guest will be a woman who is probably the best known Israeli singer throughout the world. She's had #1 hits in various countries around, and she's famous in many, many places. She's been nominated for a Grammy for her album Kirya. Her name is Ofra Haza, and before talking with her, we're going to listen to a song that shot to #1 in Germany and other countries called Imnin Alu. That's next. Music from Ofra Haza. That was the song that launched Ofra Haza's career, at least here in the West. She was already famous in Israel, but this was the one that launched her here in Europe and in the United States. It's called Imnin Alu. This is KCRW Santa Monica. I'm Tom Schnabel, and I'm very happy to welcome Ofra Haza back to our studios. Ofra, I can just barely see you over this little board here. Now it's a little bit better. How you doing?
Thank you, fine.
Yeah? So, this record that we've just played, Yemenite Songs, was your first record that made you popular here in the West. Tell us a little bit about, and yet it seems this song was written by a 16th century rabbi.
Right. This song is very, very ancient song that the greatest poet of the Yemenite Jews, Rabbi Shalom Shabazi, wrote the lyrics. And this song, the meaning of the song is even if the doors of the generous become locked, the doors of heaven are never. It's a big, big hope in God that whatever happened, to continue, not to give up, to have faith in God. And it's really very strong.
What's your connection with with Yemenite songs?
Oh, well, my parents came from Yemen, and they were in exile in Yemen, and they came to Israel before Israel became a state, and they brought with them the beautiful tradition, Jewish tradition, and these beautiful songs. And since I was a child, I used to listen to my mother singing at home Yemenite Jewish songs, and with the years I fell in love in these songs, and I wanted to keep these songs for the youngest, and that's why Bezalel Aloni, which is my producer, manager, and me did this album in '84 in Israel to give a present to our parents that taught us this beautiful culture, and also to keep the tradition for young people that's, going back and back, but fortunately now people are going more to this music. They like this music, and a lot of, by the way, Israeli artists going back to their roots and making traditional, albums. And not only in Israel, I think all over the world now. It's wonderful to see every day new artists coming from different places with his music.
Your latest album was produced by Don Was.
Right.
And it's sort of interesting to have you in here today because Khaled was in here yesterday, and half of his new album was produced by the same
He produced,
producer.
Don Was produced Khaled actually after my album. A few weeks after. And I met Don Was in '89 in Tokyo Music Festival in Japan. I won the grand prize with his song Imnin Alu, and he was with his group Was Not Was, and we talked about working together, and then I went to my way and he went to his way, and we met 2 years ago in Los Angeles, and we decided to do it, so we produced together.
The title selection is called Kirya,
right,
which is the
ancient name for Jerusalem, nickname for Jerusalem. Kirya, it's very, very special and strong song for me because it expresses Jerusalem. The meaning of the song is, Jerusalem is so beautiful, you're so wonderful, you're the center of the world, open for all the religions, but why so many of our sons have to die every day because of you? And this is like, the conflict about Jerusalem.
We'll hear it next on Café L.A. Ofra Haza is my guest. That's called Kirya. It's the latest album, the title as well of a new album produced by Don Was. Ofra Haza. This album has been nominated for a Grammy. The Grammy Award, of course, are coming up in a couple weeks' time. Ofra Haza and Kirya. Ofra Haza is with me in the studio today. It's 12:23. You grew up in Tel Aviv then?
Right, yeah, south of Tel Aviv. Hatikva neighborhood. Very, very poor neighborhood in Tel Aviv.
And did you just start singing on your own, or did someone sort of push you into singing lessons, or did you are you just...
Well, I started to sing when I was 12 years old. I joined to the theater that Bezalel, who is my manager, producer, did in Israel. It was a workshop theater, no money from government, no money from the mayor of the town, just, crazy idea of Bezalel to do something in our neighborhood to make protests, but in intelligent way of stage, and not to do like demonstration on the streets, to do it on stage. And I spent 7 years in my life in this theater, and actually this is the beginning of my way. We were like performing all over the country. We became very, very famous, and we were not professional people, of course, just people from the neighborhood that cared and wanted to do something on stage. And it was a protest, very important and very big school for me on stage.
What was your reaction when your hit song from Yemenite songs Imnin Alu, which was written by a 16th century rabbi,
Right.
went to the #1 slot in Germany? Is that a little strange?
Yeah, it was a big surprise for me. I mean, I never in my life dreamed about being outside of Israel and #1 in the chart. No way. But I think it's present from God, and I'm very happy for that. And I appreciate that.
What I thought we'd do next, Ofra, is to listen to, there have been some big rap groups that have used your voice, both with and without permission. And I thought we'd just listen a little bit, because these are songs that many people have heard on dance floors throughout the world, but you wouldn't quite recognize the voice, so I thought we'd play them back to back. Is that okay with you? Just for a minute or two. The first group is Mars from Pump Up the Volume. Everybody's heard that. The second one is from the Paid in Full, the mix, 7 Minutes of Madness, the cold cut remix of Paid in Full by Eric B. and Rakim. And we're going to put them back to back for the next few minutes. And then we'll be back with your new album, Kirya.
Thanks.
Now, when you talk to Eric B. and Rakim and to the Mars posse, why did they use your voice? What did they say?
Well, they thought, maybe I'm somewhere in the desert, very far away, nobody will recognize,
In a tent, right, with the telephone.
Yeah. But actually, the guys that sampled my voice, it's not Eric B. and Rakim, it's the Cold Cut, two English guys. They did a remix. And I met them a few years after, and they said to me, we thought you're from the desert, and, nobody will, you're not exist or something like that. I said, hey, I'm here. I'm here, so,
And then there was your voice speeded up so that you sounded like some sort of space alien.
Yeah, sometimes I don't recognize my voice. I'm not sure if it's me or not. They slowed it so down, and I heard a lot of mixes with my voice there that you barely can recognize me. But
Yeah, I always say, I think it's fun. I mean, it's inevitable that certain people's voices are going to be sampled, and people take things right and left. It's sort of part of the technology, I guess, that we live in.
Yeah.
The next song that we're going to listen to, Ofra Haza, from your album Kirya, is a lovely song that you co-wrote with Bezalel Alani called A Requiem for Refugees.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about this song, which is part of this suite of 9 songs on Kirya, which has been nominated for a Grammy in this year's NARIS Grammy Awards, which is coming up, I guess, around the 20th.
February 24th.
Yes,
Yeah.
Tell us about this song, please.
Well, this song we wrote in the middle of the Persian Gulf War, and when we saw on TV the Kurdish refugees running to the frozen mountains, and nobody cared, and that picture reminded me the Holocaust, the Jewish refugees, and you can find refugees all over the globe, And I felt like I want to do something and to sing about that, and at least to draw the attention to people that, you know, to stop these evil things and that everybody should have his own home.
It's called Innocence, Requiem for Refugees. This is from Ofra Haza's new album, Kirya. The lyrics, if I can read this tiny writing, composed by yourself and by...
Bezalel Alon in Ofra Haza.
And featuring John Bilazikian on the oud and the violin.
And rababa, kind of guitar, bouzouki. Well, yeah, he's a great guy.
And it's his birthday today, so
Yeah.
happy
Happy
birthday to you,
birthday.
John Bilazikian, one of the finest oud players too
Right.
in the world.
Yeah, he is. He's a really great guy.
This is Kirya is your fifth, sixth. How many albums have you done?
In my life or in
Yeah,
America?
in your life.
Well, I think it's the 22nd.
The 22nd one.
No, yeah, all over. But internationally, it's like the fifth.
What was your first album? Your first album like? Was it very different than this one?
Of course, yeah. I was 16 years old.
14.
Excuse me, 14. I was
You have your
really-
memory sitting
Yeah,
over here
yeah.
next to you.
I didn't want to say how old I am. Okay. Well, yeah. It was like my voice was so
Same
innocent.
voice, the same voice.
You were like one of the new kids on the block or something, right? 14 years old, and were those traditional songs as well that you were singing then? or
Yeah. Actually, in the group and in Hatikva Theater, we did also beautiful musical about the Jewish people that came from Yemen, how they settled down in Israel, how people reacted when they saw them, and was really a big hit in Israel. And also one of the songs that Bezalel wrote for me was #1 in the chart from this musical.
Tell us a little bit about the music scene in Israel, in Tel Aviv. There's really not that much. You hear a little bit about someone like Yehuda Polliker and Shlomo Artzi, but I have friends who go to Israel and are overwhelmed by the amount of reggae groups and Israeli African groups, and tell us a little bit about
All
what
of
it's
Israel
like,
are
because it doesn't come here.
Yeah, well, we have wonderful singers, wonderful groups, from Israeli folk songs to rock, disco, hip-hop, traditional. I mean, as I said before, now artists coming back to their roots, so we can find like Miki Gavrielov doing, for example, a Turkish songs, music, because of his family that came from Turkey, and there is artists that they're doing, Moroccan music. And it's getting more and more, open and big in Israel now. And a lot of young groups now, last 4 years, I think, a lot of young groups that singing and doing rock and roll, disco, reggae, a lot. I mean, Israel is full of music.
Do the Yemenite songs fit into the Sephardic tradition? I guess they would. The Sephardic tradition of songs, which go way back.
It's Yemenite.
Yeah.
It's Yemenite because, it's Yemenite music, which is Eastern music.
Tell
For
us.
Sephardis in Israel, it depends, because there is Sephardic music like, Ladino music, which is
From
more,
Spain, yeah.
which is more Jewish, that came from Spain, which more Sephardic. It's known like Yemenite Jewish music.
The next song, you're working here with Iggy Pop.
Right.
So how'd you meet old Iggy?
Well, when we were in the studio working on this song, we wanted somebody with low voice to tell the story of the Daud Achia, which I sing in Yemenite language, and we wanted somebody to tell the story in English. And we thought about Chris Christopherson, for example, but he was busy in Australia filming a movie or something like that. And then Iggy called to the studio, and Don is really best friend, and he asked him about doing something in his song, and he was really positive, and he said, of course, I'll do that. So we sent him the cassette the same day, and the day after he came to the studio and did it. And it was so wonderful.
We're going to hear that next. This is a song that you wrote in part.
This is a half traditional song. That this story, the Daudachia is the name of a woman that stoned and got killed because of her love, and that she went against the tradition, the Muslim tradition and religion. This is based on a true Muslim story that happened many, many years ago in Yemen.
With Iggy Pop, Ofra Haza with Dahia. This is from Kirya, a new album. This has been Graminated for a Nami. It's been Graminated for a Nami, everybody. They're coming up at the Naris Grammy Awards February 24th. It's on originally on East West Records and released in this country on Shanaki. Have you toured a lot of places in the world, Ofra?
Yeah, in America I just toured last March. It was really wonderful. We've been visiting 12 or 13 cities, and to see the audience, I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was really big and wonderful surprise for me. They love the music, they know my music, they sing with me, they like celebration, and I enjoyed it very much.
I remember you once telling me that you received quite a few fan letters from not only in Israel, of course, but also among the other Arab countries.
Right, yeah, from university in Cairo, from Kuwait, from Dubai, from Jordan, Syrian. It's really, and I meet them all over. I mean, in my concert they come in and they love that music, and we talk after that, and it's really wonderful to see that music actually, there is nothing to do with politics, and people like music, they like human beings, and it's wonderful to see everybody together and no difference of race, color, and it's great. It's a great thing that happened.
I remember that I think it was Molière, or it was a French playwright who once said that if politicians and presidents of republics learned music, that'd be better presidents.
Yeah,
they were
sure.
Close to music, so.
I'm sure. I mean, yeah, we don't have the power of politics, but we definitely have our power to reunite people, to do something together, to work. And by the way, in this album, Kirya, in the title Kirya, in the song, playing professor in UCLA, Professor Ali Jihad Rasi. He was in the studio and he did with his flutes wonderful, wonderful things. It was wonderful to work together.
He's a wonderful musician, and he certainly is in the middle of a whole connection here, which is important in bringing a lot of different cultures together here in Los Angeles, but also imparting his knowledge to his classes at UCLA, and also for the Los Angeles Festival coming up this summer, which will be devoted to music of the Middle East.
Really?
Yes, and Africa. So it'll be very interesting.
Maybe I'll be there, I don't know.
I hope so. I hope so. I know that Dr. Jihad Rasi will be part of my class this coming Tuesday at UCLA, and I'm really looking forward to that and to seeing you there too.
Yeah.
Okay, a beautiful song coming up next with a very vast subject, mystery, fate, and love.
Yeah, mystery of our lives, faith in our lives, and love together. So mystery to know what is it, love in our lives. And it says by himself, mystery, faith, and love.
Now, who does the introduction on this piece? There's a Kanun introduction or something that is really beautiful, and is that not Dr. Jihad Rasi? Or?
Kanun from our band.
Yeah, it's the guy that's from our band, he played it.
Okay, we'll hear it next. Ofra Haza is my guest on Café L.A. Mystery, Fate, and Love, performed by Ofra Haza from Kirya. Ofra, you've performed, I guess, a lot of different places in the world. Is there one particular concert that was very, very special for you? I know they're all special in some way, but For instance, Christian Kasparian, who works with me on the program, was just saying that he had a friend who saw you with 20,000 other people
Right.
in Turkey.
Right.
So
Well, I tell the story. The first time they invited me to be in Turkey, I was afraid because I saw the movie, Midnight Express, something like that, and I said, oh my God, I don't want to go to this place. I was like, and when I came to Istanbul, it was the best time. Wonderful city, wonderful people, wonderful food, and the audience was so, warm, and it was wonderful experience and surprise for me. So I'm looking forward coming back and performing there again.
have you performed in Japan as well? In fact,
Yeah.
you were telling us that you won
Yeah.
a...
Also, this is a wonderful story. People told me, Ofra, when you're coming to Japan, you have to take it easy if people will not clap their hands or something like that, because they are very quiet and polite and they like to listen. They will not do anything and be strong. And I said, okay. So we came to Japan. I did a few concerts, sold out. And the minute I opened my mouth, the Japanese were dancing, singing. I was surprised, and I said, this is the Japanese. They told me, all the people. And it was really wonderful, wonderful experience.
Well, I want to thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for having
I'm
me.
sorry this time there is no concert right now, but hopefully
In May. Probably in May, yeah.
We're going to conclude with a song from a couple of albums ago. This is from an album from Desert Wind, a piece from Desert Wind called Kaddish.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about it.
This is a special, beautiful song that known like a prayer of the death. But in this song I dedicate to all the Holocaust victims and to all the war's victims. Kaddish.
Ofra Haza, thank you for visiting Café L.A. today.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
Kaddish from Ofra Haza's album Desert Wind. Her new album Kirya is nominated for a Grammy. The awards take place February 24th. This is KCRW Santa Monica. We're a community service of Santa Monica College at 89.9 FM National Public Radio for most of Southern California. I'm Tom Schnabel. You're listening to Café L.A. It's 1 minute past 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. We'll be right back.